Good afternoon, everybody. This is kind of an end of the season video, and I'm up here in my man cave, in my so-called trophy room, as it is. Not much of one, but they're trophies to me. So just a little recap here and show you around a little bit. First of all, thank you to all the new subscribers. Since I put out my videos during the hunting season, my new hunting camp, I asked for people to subscribe, to actually subscribe, that were watching the videos, and I had quite an uptick in subscriptions. I think I picked up like 40 people, which for me that's awesome. That's excellent. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hopefully I'll get some more throughout the year. And like I said, it's not about the money. I'm not trying to monetize my channel. I am not going to get on Patreon and say, oh, send me money so I can continue to do what I'm doing and make videos about it. That's ridiculous. I'm going to make videos regardless. I'm not making it for the money. I'm not trying to make a living off of this. But I appreciate the subscribers. And like I said, the sole reason I'm asking for subscribers and thumbs up on my videos is I wouldn't mind getting sponsors. These outdoor companies manufacturing stuff, and they want people to test it. Well, they want testers that actually have a pretty good viewer base. Excuse me. And so anyway, that's why I'm asking for subscribers and thumbs up. And this is, like I said, this is my man cave. Just a little bit about me. I'm a very eclectic collector. Whatever catches my eye, I like to display it, and since I've got the room. And right there, that's my first trophy right there. That is my first elk I ever killed, my first bull. So not a great one, but I killed him archery, so to me that's a hell of an accomplishment. A little bit about me. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it before, but I didn't start hunting until I was in my 40s. So I've been hunting it's about 13 years now, 14 years. 13, I think. Started in 2012. So whatever that is. No, I take that back. 2011. So 10 years. Right? Yeah. Okay. Not a math whiz. Never claimed to be. And the reason for that, there's a lot of different reasons. I just didn't grow up in an outdoorsy family. That's all I really want to say about that. But then I went in the Navy. Spent quite a bit of time in the Navy. So my son, he was already a teenager, and I've been taking him fishing and camping and going out to state parks and whatnot. But I wanted to give him the opportunity to get into hunting, so I took him hunting. Like I said, the first time was in 2010, and we just kind of winged it. We just learned as we went. Lots of outdoor shows, Meat Eater, Eastman's Outdoor Channel, that type of thing, Fresh Tracks with Randy Newberg, and we learned from that and made a lot of mistakes and finally started having some success. But anyway, I think that elk I got 13. Yeah, got that one at 13. That was my first one. And from my days in the Navy, used to ride, belonged to motorcycle clubs, not gangs, clubs. So, and a few license plate collections there. Now this, we got this in 12, and it's not mine, it's my son's. This was his first elk. Funny story on that. We had a hell of a time keeping his rifle sighted in. Like I said, we basically started from scratch. And so we got him a 300 Win short mag. And the first day at rifle, we went out in the morning, and he got on a cow, and he hit it. As far as we knew, the rifle was sighted in. I mean, on target, on paper. He hit the cow, and the cow reared up like a rearing horse, and then just tipped over and fell and didn't move. She was immobilized, anyway, so she's laying there, and we're belly bumping and high fiving and whatnot because we thought he'd scored his first elk, and come to find out, he had just hit her across the back of the neck, and she got, started moving, and we looked at her once, and she was traveling across the opening, across what we call a park here in Wyoming, but she was doing it like a wheelbarrow. She had her head on the ground, and her front legs weren't underneath her, so she was sliding on her neck, and her ass was up in the air, and she was pumping her rear legs, and we was like, what, it just shocked us. We thought we made a good shot, and so she went about 20, 30 yards like that, and then fell over again. So we're like, okay, she's done now. And then, so I'm trying to get on her calf, because, it was any elk. So I'm trying to get on her calf, and in the process of doing that, all of a sudden the calf ran off in her direction. And we looked over again, and she's up on all fours, running across the park, going to the tree line with her calf right behind her. And we're like, what the hell? So we actually found the spot where she went down, and come to find out, there was just a little puddle of blood, a little pool. I mean, I can't even call it a pool. It was just a little blood stain where she was laying. And we couldn't figure out what the hell. So we got on her tracks, and fortunately it snowed a couple days before, and so she went down a north slope, so we still had snow on the slope, and we tracked no blood. We tracked her until we couldn't distinguish her tracks from anybody else's or any other elk's, and so no blood, and we had to give up. There was no sense in going any further, especially with no blood. So anyway, in the evening, we got on this guy here. An elk herd ran up past us, and I stopped him, and the boy gets on him and shoots, and he misses. And so they take off running. Fortunately, I had a cow call, or an elk call in my mouth, a mouth reed, and so I hit a cow call, and they all came to a screeching halt, and he shot again, and this time it went down. And so we went up to it, but it was paralyzed. It was moving his head. He could move his head, but the rest of his body he couldn't move it. So we put a finishing shot on him. I'm like, dude, where were you aiming? And he told me right in the vitals, just right behind the shoulder. So anyway, in the process of keeping the fella out here, we found the bullet, and because we couldn't even find a bullet hole, the first bullet hole, because come to find out, it was in that thick fur on his neck, and it basically he had spined him up in the neck. So the rifle was shooting high left, and so that's what we figured happened with the cow as well. Except that morning when he shot the cow, he must have just right across the neck, the back of the neck or the top of the neck, and just stunned her. He did crease her. Like I said, we did find a little puddle or a little stain of blood. But anyway, what had happened with the scope was moving in the scope rings. We fixed it the next year, but that's why it wasn't holding zero. It would hold zero for a couple shots, and we were like, okay, good group, let's go hunting. But come to find out, after the last shot on paper, the scope had moved so much that it was shooting high left. And we fixed it, of course, with friction tape and in the scope, around the scope where it mounts in the scope rings. And the other lesson we learned, too, was that never assume that the elk is down. Especially if it looks like it's getting back up, put another one in it. These are tough-ass animals for getting shot. And there is no doubt about that. You gotta make sure they're down, and if they're down, walk up on them to make sure that they're dead. So anyway, that was our lesson learned. So continuing here, excuse me. Just some more little things on display. This powder horn is not a reproduction. This one here, it is marked. I don't know. And I'm chewing gum. I hope I'm not smacking. I hope I'm not chewing like a cow. I just realized I'm still chewing gum. Need to spit it out. Anyway, I can't, oh, right there. I don't know if you can see that, but it is marked 1719. So that is an extreme, the thong, the leather piece on it, that's newer. But good God, think of all the history that thing's seen. I mean, French Indian War, Revolutionary War, I don't know how long or where it was used, but I do know it's authentic, and that is an actual true date on that. So, and then, that's the date that was put on there. No telling when it was put on, how long after it was made. So maybe even older than that. And continuing on down around here, we'll come back to this here in a second. That's the main reason for the video. And my little I love me display there. And this is the deer I got this year. So the recap this year is for hunting. This is the buck I got during archery season, and the unit that I hunt, it is 4 points or greater on one side restriction. So this was a legal buck, one of the very few, actually one of only two that I saw during archery season. I saw them both on the same day, but this is the one I shot this year. Fortunately, I've made a new friend, and I put him up in hunting camp. Hosted him in hunting camp for a week and a half, and he knows how to do. He does European mounts, so he did that for me as a thank you, because I'm not any good at doing Europeans, and it wasn't really big enough to consider getting mounted. But he's not a bad little deer, bad little buck. So I got this buck, and then I was hosting somebody else for deer season rifle. So I held off on filling my doe tags during archery season, so that I'd have something to do besides being the camp cook, bottle washer, and diaper changer. So during rifle, I went ahead and I took 2 does. And then rifle elk, I shot a spike. And then on antelope season, I shot an antelope. This is not the antelope I shot. The horns are still outside. I forgot to bring them in for the video, but this is actually the first antelope I ever shot. This was last year. But anyway, so my season, I did all right. 3 deer, spike elk, and an antelope buck. I missed a really nice one, but the one I got wasn't too bad. But the reason for the video, or the primary reason, is that I wanted to do a review. This is a plastic skull. Now, this is a deer I shot in 2018, and he was a hell of a deer. Just things conspired against me that I couldn't do a proper mount. This one was worth mounting. He was a very good deer, and you can see him there. Trying to get the glare off of it. Excuse me. Sorry about the glare. I wish I was more technically adept. Then I could go ahead and post stills in the video with video editing software and whatnot, but I'm not good at it. Anyway, so this is the horns, or excuse me, the antlers off of that buck right there. And like I said, for various reasons, didn't get them mounted or do a European. Just time got away from me, so I just cut the antlers off of the actual skull, and I bought this on Amazon. This is Mountain Mike's plastic skull. This is a deer. He's got one for elk, and I think primarily what they're for is if you find sheds, then you can mount the sheds on a skull or on a representation of a skull to show them off. But for my purposes, they worked as well. As long as you get your spread right. Now, they make a couple different ones. If you cut the skull plate and the what are they called? The pedicles. If you cut the skull plate and the pedicles, they've got a skull that you can actually mount the skull plate in there and then putty it so that it blends in, so that you can actually have a scoreable. You can't score this. Officially, you can't score this because you can't give a accurate spread. But if you wanted to, you could put one on a skull plate, or excuse me, leave them on a skull plate on the actual pedicle and do a mounting similar to this. Like I said, I got this on Amazon. Mountain mics, plastic skulls, or just look, do a search for mountain mics on Amazon. And as far as I know, this is what they've got. You know, deer and elk. I haven't done a search for a while. I don't know if they're doing any other animals. They might be doing antelope by now. But, I mean, if you're interested in something like that, go ahead and check that out. But anyway, I guess that's about it. You know, showed you around the trophy room here. And I think that'll take us to the end of the video. Again, if you're a subscriber, I appreciate it. You know, give me a thumbs up, and go ahead and subscribe if you want to. Excuse me. And thanks for watching.